Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the real Cass Perry, and before I fully get into this video, I want to give my condolences to the husband and family of the affected party from this very, very sad story. So what we are here to talk about today is a lawsuit having to do with Walt Disney Parks. Now, when we think of Walt Disney Parks, we think of a beautiful place full of fun, joy, and happiness, glee, and supposedly allergen-free or allergen-cautious restaurants, right? Well, that's what I always thought about. Well, all of the first things mentioned are correct, or at least they were always supposedly correct. It is supposedly the happiest place on earth. Well, and every kid dreams of going there. Some of us spend into adulthood wishing that we could go there. Me, myself, I spent my entire life wishing that I could go to Disneyland. However, I found out that no matter how careful I am about allergens, going to a Disney restaurant could probably kill me. I am lucky as heck that I was smart enough to never sign up for Disney Plus, because if I did, and if I did have an allergic reaction at one of their restaurants at a Walt Disney Park, then my family, who has also never signed up for Disney Plus, and they have never clicked I agree on their in case of emergency gag orders that they put into the fine print of the Disney Plus contract. And apparently, if you even buy a ticket to their theme park online, you apparently sign away your rights to a wrongful death lawsuit against Walt Disney Parks and all of their affiliates. This seems absolutely outrageous and completely insane, and I am not going to be able to believe it if this doesn't go to court with a jury. The thing is, this actually happened, and it's scary, and it's sad, and it makes me very upset on behalf of all of the people who this is affecting right now. Now, the reason that I am so upset about this is because this was a lawsuit about a fatal allergic reaction and a wrongful death lawsuit. From what I know, and please correct me if I am wrong down in the comments, is that a Dr. Kanokoporn Tangswan, I have no idea if I am pronouncing this correctly, Dr. Kanokoporn Tangswan, who was a doctor at NYU Langone Hospital in New York City, went to a Raglan Road Irish pub with her husband, Jeffrey Piccolo, and the two asked about allergen-free items on the menu. Now, her allergies were to specifically peanuts and dairy. The waiter specifically pointed things out that they could order that would apparently be allergen-free, and just in case, they asked the waiter to double check with the chef to make sure that the food would be allergen-free and that the waiter was correct. So, and they even inquired it again several times after continually being assured that the food would be peanut and dairy free. So, when the waiter brought their food out, it didn't have the little allergen-free flags on the top of it that it is supposed to have. So, they once again asked the waiter if there was at all a possibility that there was allergens in her food, and or if they had given her the wrong meal and or someone else's food by mistake. Or if the chef had not gotten the note that it was her meal specifically that was supposed to be allergen-free. So the waiter once again assured this couple that their food was not going to have any of the any dairy or any peanuts in it, and that it would be safe. So, thinking, okay, everything's going to be fine, and because they had been so careful and continually asked, they ate the food. And they sat down, they ate their meal, they had a nice time. But when they left for their room, about 45 minutes later, once they were in their hotel room, Dr. Tang Swan collapsed, having trouble breathing from anaphylactic shock. That is something that I worry about often, to be completely honest. I should probably stop taking allergy medication so that I can have dairy, because my allergies are getting worse and it's not good. It's a very scary situation when you do take the allergy medication and it's not working properly. So I can understand where her family is coming from and how she was probably feeling at that point in time. Tang Swan had administered her EpiPen herself while she was on the floor after she had collapsed, and it didn't work because of the severity of the allergic reaction and how much of the allergens had been in her system at the time when she was having the reaction. So she was rushed to the emergency room, and she later passed away from anaphylactic shock due to elevated levels of allergens from both peanuts and dairy. And I'm going to be completely honest, I am so angry and upset on behalf of this family and this person's husband, both who lost this magnificent woman, and they can't even sue on her behalf because they, not her, signed up for Disney Plus. According to law professor Christine Bartholomew, she says that Disney may possibly have a viable legal argument, however unethical it is. And it is extremely unethical, I'm going to be completely honest. I cannot stand the way that they are handling this. Honestly, it's completely pathetic on part of Disney. Just honestly, it really is. I am so glad that I never signed up for a Disney Plus membership and that nobody in my family ever signed up for Disney. At this point in time, I'm considering a boycott personally, but whatever. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, she also said that the Supreme Court has time and time again treated these arbitration agreements as binding, and it doesn't matter if it is in the smallest, teeniest, tiniest fine print that you can't even see. It is still binding in court. Now, this next part was quoted exactly from Bartholomew. If consumers want to fix this, we need to vote for politicians who want to change the dynamic between corporations and consumers. And honestly, I have a question. How many other times did something like that happen and Disney hushed the plaintiffs of a wrongful death lawsuit of some sort, which should go to a jury, and the restaurant employees should have lost their jobs for gross negligence, because that is clearly negligent. They need to have health inspectors on a regular basis go visit this restaurant, and full retraining of all of the employees who were not involved, and possibly new food protocols at Raglan Road Irish Pub in Walt Disney Parks, if not fully shut them down and open something else. Because I'm going to be completely honest, all of the people who displayed this completely negligent behavior do not deserve to still have their jobs. They literally had this woman die. A woman literally died because a bunch of restaurant employees couldn't follow proper allergy protocols. Seriously? You couldn't follow proper sanitation and sanitation protocols and protocols to deal with somebody's allergies. Disney hasn't made a statement about whether or not the restaurant employees are keeping their jobs. They haven't made a statement about whether or not they are still going to have the restaurant there. The only statement that they have made is that they apparently feel so sorry for the family's loss and understand how they're feeling right now, but they also apparently signed an arbitration agreement when they signed up for a Disney Plus subscription 5 years ago, And it was literally a trial. So they signed up for a trial subscription for Disney Plus, which basically signed away all of their rights. He signed up for it. She didn't even sign up for it. And it was over 5 years ago. So anybody who has ever signed up for a Disney Plus trial and then has any kind of a wrongful death lawsuit that has anything to do with any kind of a Disney thing, apparently they have immediately signed away their rights at that point in time for the rest of their lives to ever have anything taken to a jury trial. That's ridiculous and disgusting, and I will not have it. Yeah, it's actually, I don't even understand it. If Disney was even remotely capable of not being evil, then rather than asking Piccolo to settle it in a private court, they would have actually given him like a huge payout settlement immediately and show proper sadness for their loss or condolences. But no, they just said, it's in your Disney Plus contract that you signed 5 years ago, that in the smallest print that you can't even see, that can ever be printed, that you actually aren't allowed to ever publicly sue us in a fair jury court. It has to be privately with just us, our lawyers, and a judge. And whether they're biased or not, or under contract with us or as well or not, or whether we paid them or not, let's play ball. I don't want to do it publicly, but let's play ball. I don't know if I'm actually understanding what I read correctly, so I am going to cite my sources down below, and please tell me what y'all think, and am I overreacting? But personally, I have a whole list of things that I am allergic to, some big allergies and some small, and I would never want to unknowingly have something that could cause me a reaction given to me. And honestly, the only reason that I would never want to have an allergic reaction that bad that would cause me to die is because I have like a selective few couple people in my life that would possibly be devastated if anything happened to me. I'm probably underestimating when I say that, probably not too. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really know. But that woman actually had a lot of people who cared about her, who she unwillingly left behind, that are mourning her loss, and a husband who adored her and wanted the best for her and tried to keep her safe. That poor man is probably feeling like his entire world and life was washed away in an instant. This restaurant in this Disney park needs to be held accountable, if not the Disney park itself, for not making sure that the restaurants that they employ make sure that they don't kill people. And if it isn't a public jury with the biggest payout ever, then I will personally be extremely disappointed and disgusted with Disney, because it's ridiculous. Like I say, I have no idea if I understood this article correctly or not. These articles, because I did read a couple of them before I started writing my script. This upset me a lot while I was reading about it. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like I say, tell me what you guys think down in the comments. Hey guys, so I just looked back. I am here from a little while ahead in the future from when I first started filming this. There is a new headline out. Disney backtracks and agrees to court hearing for lawsuit brought by Wittery Jeffrey Piccolo, whose doctor wife died from a severe allergic reaction at a theme park's restaurant. Disney has bowed to pressure and agreed to a court hearing despite previously arguing that the claimant couldn't sue because he had signed up for a 1-month free trial of Disney Plus. Thank the heavens! Jeffrey Piccolo filed a wrongful death lawsuit after his wife Kennecoporn Tangswan, 42, suffered a deadly allergic reaction at a restaurant in Disney Springs shopping complex in Orlando on October 5th last year. But Disney sought to dismiss the case, arguing it instead should be sent to arbitration because the terms and agreements of its Disney Plus contract that Mr. Piccolo had signed up for for 1 month in 2019. Mr. Piccolo's lawyer then appealed the decision, branding Disney's argument as preposterous and saying that it borders on the surreal, which honestly it completely does. There is absolutely no world in which the Disney company can own your rights to sue for a wrongful death based on a trial subscription that only lasts a month 5 years ago. It's absolutely ridiculous and horrifying if they actually rule on the side of Disney and say, oh no, it's not Disney's fault. I'm going to be so upset. But anyways, the company has now backtracked, with Chairman Disney Experiences Josh DeMauro saying that the statement on dailymail.com that the company will waive its right to arbitration and have the matter proceed in court. He added, "We believe this situation warrants a sensitive approach to expedite a resolution for the family who have experienced a painful loss." Mr. Piccolo is seeking in excess of $50,000 from Disney for mental pain and suffering, funeral expenses, medical expenses, and loss of income caused by his wife's death. He said that his family chose the Raglan Road Irish Pub restaurant because both Disney and Raglan advertised it as accommodating for people with allergies. Which, obviously, they freaking lied. But despite alleged assurances from the waiter that Miss Hankson's order was allergen-free, she had an acute allergic reaction and died of anaphylaxis from elevated levels of nut and dairy in her system. And court documents show, in its initial response in April to Mr. Piccolo's complaint, Disney made no mention of arbitration, instead arguing it was not liable because it was no control over Raglan's operations or management and merely serves as its landlord. But you know what? You are still the landlord. You still have this restaurant in your park, and you are still advertising this restaurant in your park as allergen safe. So how exactly is it no fault of yours? Please explain that to me. Can somebody at Disney explain that to me, please? Nobody at Disney is ever going to see this, but I want somebody at Disney to come into the comment section and explain this to me, because I am infuriated. Oof. Another filing in late May, Disney offered a new defense, but the complaint is subject to arbitration based on Mr. Piccolo's Disney Plus subscription, as well as his use of the company's website in 2023 to buy theme park tickets, which required him to agree to its terms and conditions. Any dispute between you and us, except for small claims, is subject to class action waiver and must be resolved by individual binding arbitration. And you know what? That is absolutely ridiculous. Mr. Piccolo's lawyers branded Disney's argument as preposterous and said that it borders on the surreal, as a court filing obtained by the Daily Mail revealed. When signing up for a free trial of a streaming service, Mr. Piccolo agreed to the terms of Disney's subscriber agreement, which include arbitration clause in Section 7 titled to binding arbitration class action waivers. The company argued the section applies to all disputes, including those involving the Walt Disney Company or its affiliates. Walt Disney Parks and Resorts is an affiliate of the Walt Disney Company, the company said. They also said Mr. Piccolo agreed to the Walt Disney World terms when he purchased park tickets for him and his wife in September 2023, which include the same arbitration clause. Disney also noted by agreeing to the terms represented his deceased wife while doing so. Whether Piccolo actually viewed the Disney terms is also immaterial, the company added. Mr. Piccolo said that his wife was highly allergic to dairy and nuts, and that the couple chose to eat at the pub because the beloved Disney would have proper safeguards in place. The couple repeatedly asked the server about allergen-free food and claimed that the waiter even went to confirm with the chef. The waiter unequivocally assured them that the food would be allergen-free, the lawsuit read. Miss Tang Swan, a medical doctor at NYU Langone in New York City, ordered the following menu items at the restaurant. I'm sure I'm frittered. Scallop Forest, the shepherd went vegan, and onion rings. I don't know what any of that means. Those are some crazy food names, but you know what? They all sound weird. And I don't like scallops. The bottom of the menu, available online, notes cross-contamination may occur, and thus we cannot guarantee that any dish we prepare will be completely free of gluten-allergens. She began having severe difficulty breathing and collapsed to the floor. 911 was called, and the caller told the dispatcher that Miss Tang Swan self-administered an EpiPen. Mr. Piccolo and her mother, Jackie, had tried calling Miss Tang Swan to meet back up with her, but a person answered her phone and told them that she had been taken to the hospital. She died at the hospital, and the medical examiner investigation determined that the cause of death was a result of anaphylaxis due to elevated levels of dairy and nut in her system. And I know that I've repeated this so many times, but it is crazy that this happened because just a small amount of cross-contamination. If you are using an EpiPen, unless you have the most severe allergy known to man, that means that they fully cooked most of her food in peanut oil. And they added dairy without thinking about it. Even though Disney does not own the pub, Disney had control over the menu of food offered, the hiring and/or training of the waitstaff, and the policies and procedures as it pertains to food allergies at Disney Springs restaurants, such as Raglan Road. They argue that Disney failed to properly train its employees on food allergies, and the employees failed to properly warn Miss Tang Swan about allergies in her food, which is absolutely correct. And you know what? I'm completely glad that Disney backtracked on this, but you know what they should have done as well? Instead of going to public court, to also pay them double what they were asking to settle it privately, if that was what needed to be done, to actually help this man and show them that they are showing proper respect for his loss and grieving process. But they didn't do that. That is so upsetting to me, and it makes me absolutely enraged. I can't believe it, but please like the video if you like the video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and please tell me if you think I should do more skincare while I'm reading videos. I don't know. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one. I just wanted to try to not be over the top while I was talking about this, so I decided to try to keep my hands busy and think about things while I was reading. But like I say, I love you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Mwah.